Good morning and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Glenn Edison. Certainly glad to have you today. And as always, we're thankful for BTC Fiber for hosting our program. And you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as cable channel 18. And also would like to thank our sponsor, Needful Things General Store, right on Highway 127, just past the Bethel Church of Christ. You can go by there and check out, says you might find something you need, you might find something you don't need, but just want it anyway. So go by and check out our fine friends there at Needful Things General Store. And today we have with us Travis and Emily Faucett of Rolling Oak Distillery. And guys, it's good to have y'all.
Well, thank you for having us.
Now, I know, Travis, you've been involved in real estate and doing other things, and Emily, you teach as well. But what got y'all, let's do a little background on this. What got y'all to want to do this? Or is this something you've always wanted to do, or something you just thought you would try and turned out?
It's something I've always wanted to do. We generate a 160-year-old recipe, and I'm fourth generation, but we're the first ones to have papers to say we can do it.
Yeah.
So it's we just went over our first year from being licensed. The 24th this month was our 1-year anniversary of being licensed. Been on the shelf. We've only been on the shelf since about August or so. So we've enjoyed it so far.
Well, that sounds good, because I know there's been a lot of small breweries popping up around that create their own craft beers and stuff. But you being a distillery, you're being able to do a little bit more than just the craft beer.
Yeah, we're doing a little bit harder stuff.
Yeah.
Our signature line so far is our moonshine, and we're working on vodkas and whiskeys and bourbons and things of that sort. So anything of a high proof caliper is what we're working on.
And a lot of people don't realize that when you operate a distillery, you come under a lot of laws and regulations.
Yes, if it had a government abbreviation, they checked us out before giving us that license. It's a very long process. I mean, stack of papers yay thick, and it took months and months. And finally they messed around and gave Country Boy a license to do it, and we've been at it ever since. But we're under the ATF, TTB, Tennessee ABC. Well, there's a lot of rules and regulations that we're set under. The biggest thing is just make sure we pay alcohol tax.
Yeah. They want their money, don't they?
Oh yeah, every time.
Well, and it was out there where you're located. You've got a large building there, and got a lot of equipment inside that building.
Yeah, we're our new facility's right off of Lewis Chapel and 111 exit. Initially, when I started this, we was just gonna make liquor, and I thought I was gonna get to sit at the farm and send it out. Well, then we got out into the world, and people started wanting to do tours, and then the tourism board got involved, and it's kind of just compounded as we went along. So we bought that property, and we're building the main still house is about 2,500 square foot or so, and we're having a little general store, and there'll be a lot of stuff coming down the pipeline, but it's just, like eating an elephant one bite at a time.
So if when you do have the tours, people can come by and they can actually buy the stuff right there.
Yeah, they can be able to go to the general store. We'll have the distillery open for tours. You can come in and help us make mash or see how the process is done. And we haven't decided on exactly what days of the week we're going to do it. It'll probably be towards the end of the week that we do that. That way we can get the production portion of it out at the beginning of the week. But we'll be completely open to the public and get down the tour. We'll have what we're calling the general store across the road, and you can come in there and actually taste all the products. And if you want some, you can buy it there. There'll also be products there that won't be on the shelves at the stores, kind of specialty one-off flavors, not something, might not be a hit in the stores, but it, be something to try while you're there.
Right, because I know watching I watched a lot of like the Moonshiner show and all that, and they always come up with all these different flavors and different things, and sometimes they work and sometimes they don't. Right,
and one thing about ours is we do completely, we don't do any artificial flavorings or colorants. So we may be after one flavor with those natural flavors, and it come out to be something totally different.
Yeah.
And that's where some of those one-offs will come from. But it's been interesting, to say the least, so far.
Well, how has it been around here? I know have you been able to get your products out in some places here?
Yeah, we distribute through Tennessee Crown Distributing, and our flagship store is actually 5-star down beside McDonald's, and they've done phenomenal with it. When we release new flavor that's going to be on store shelves, they're the first store to get it, and everybody's been very supportive of the product through this store. It's the #1 store out of all the stores we're in.
Well, have you had other people interested in contacting you saying, hey, we'd like to carry your stuff when you get it going?
Oh yeah, it's every day. It really took off when we started this. We started off in a little bitty building, didn't know whether we was going to make it or go belly up, and it kind of caught traction. Now it's growing legs and starting to run, and we're just trying to keep up with it at this point and grow with it. So it's pretty big undertaking.
I'm sure it's keeping you busier than you thought you was going to be, right?
Yeah, we're burning both ends of the candle. It's a lot of hours we're putting in, but I believe it'll be well worth it. And then we'll be able to do a lot of good for the community with what we're doing out there as well.
Well, are there many distilleries around in this area?
Our nearest one, we've got one in South Pittsburgh, the Down Whiskey Company, and then Chattanooga Whiskey would be the only other closest one. As far as our area, as far as everything we'll be able to tell, we're the very first ever legal distillery in Sequatchie County. And when you go north, you got to go over towards Columbia and Manchester before you find any more. So there's not a lot of us floating around.
Yeah.
It takes quite a bit to get into it, let alone the paperwork and figuring out the system, but it's a little bit easier opening a brewery than it is a distillery, and we found that out the hard way.
Yeah. Well, I know you, just doing a little bit of my research, I know you've had some different flavors. What are some of your flavors you have?
So our tried and true that we released a shelf start with is our original clear corn. Everything we do is a corn whiskey. And then we had apple pie and blueberry pancake. About a week ago or so, we released peach and sweet tea, and it's done phenomenally. We got a lot of flavors that'll be released this year. Coffee and cranberry, a lot of different lemonades that are coming, and people are really liking the flavors.
Well, that's good, because I know if you just had one thing, I mean, people might like that one thing, but the more you have, the more it gets other people. I guess other people have other interest in flavors and.
Well, and then they like too that's more local. It's not something out of Gatlinburg, and it's not going to say all the competitors are not true shine, but this is what they're used to coming off the mountain. I mean, it's a real corn liquor. It's not sugar wash, and that was one of the things that got us into it. We was at a wedding, and we tried a couple other shines that was out there on the market, and I said, boy, if that's all we got to compete against, we might have something on our hands here. So that's kind of what initiated everything for us.
Well, and even at some tastings, you kind of have to talk some people into moonshine, because they hear moonshine, I've had bad experiences with that. I don't want to try that. It's usually the flavors that'll kind of get them in, and like, oh, well, that doesn't taste like moonshine. No, that's better than I thought. And like he said, they do appreciate the local quality, even outside of Dunlap, but especially in Dunlap. They love that we can say, oh, well, we're just on Lewis Chapel, and they just think that's cool. So.
Well, and y'all not cooking out of rusty barrels like
no.
moonshiners used to.
We'll make sure we put the highest quality product in those jars. Costs significantly more, but the quality is well worth it, and it takes a long time to build a good name. It don't take long to run a good name.
That's true. That's true. Well, I know a lot. I hear a lot about you a lot. I mean, I see. Of course, you're on social media, right? You're on Facebook, and do you have a website as well?
The BTC Fiber's working on our website. I've been neglectful and getting back with them. We've got to get with them, get the website up and go, and he's got everything done for us. But we've just been so busy, we hadn't actually launched that part of the business because everything's been moving at such a quick click with the new site and everything. But with the website, we've got a landing page there when you can go to rollingoakdistillery.com and it'll land on our landing page, but the rest of the website should be completed within the next month or so.
Well, is this something that if when you get your website up, if people wanted to order, can you mail it or ship it, or is there regulations on that?
Yeah, there's a lot of regulations on it. Basically, within the state, it'll be a lot easier. We're still trying to figure out how to tackle that bear. It's pretty sensitive as far as being able to ship it. It can't go through post office, things of that sort of nature, but it can be done. We're just making sure we do it the right way, because we don't want to get our hands smacked or get in trouble for doing something, just because we're stupid of the fact what should be done. Now, as far as shipping it out of state, we've had a ton of requests for that to happen, because at these tastings, people have been coming from all over the country, and then they're like, hey, can we order it and get it shipped to us? Well, each little state's basically like their own little country. And we've got to get licensed in every single state surrounding. Really? That way we can say we're sending it in, and then give them their tax revenue, and make sure everything goes smooth.
Well, that I didn't realize. It's not like it's Amazon,
Yeah, it's a little bit different.
That's I didn't realize you have to be in each state like that.
Yeah, that's part of what we're learning. The legalities. Each little state's got their own little pet peeve about hard liquor, and we just got to get each one of them figured out. More than likely we'll go into Georgia and Alabama first, and then that'll kind of tee this in, and we'll figure out everybody else after that.
Well, imagine with people from all these states, when they start requesting that, and that's going to be something you might even have to have somebody that just does that for y'all.
Right, and then that's what we're looking at is, in the end, we're hoping to make quite a few jobs out there at the distillery. That way so many people don't have to go to Chattanooga for jobs, and it'll be relatively good paying jobs, and we can pull all of our supplies in. We try to do everything as local as possible. Some of the stuff we can't buy local, like our glassware and stuff like that. It's hard to get glass that's made in America to start with, let alone locally, but as we grow, we're hoping to contract with some of the local farmers to grow our corns and rye and barleys and things of that sort of nature.
Well, that'd be good if you get that local. That'd be saving you in the long run, and helping other farmers.
And we can pay a little bit better premium than what market's paying, because we're turning into a premium product, so we can pay a little bit better on the bushel than what it would be if it was just, say, feed corn or what have you. And hopefully that'll, we're hoping what we're doing there will spiral off, and just through the economic portion that we're doing, all the spiral off business that'll be generated because of it will help the community tremendously, I think.
Well, speaking of the recipes, the different ones you mentioned a while ago, how do you come up with those recipes? You
very carefully. So the original liquor that we make is the base in all the liquors, and then so once we pick a flavor that we want to tackle, I basically come up with it in my head as far as what we need to use. And say like the apple pie, we have to take the fresh apple juice and then concentrate it down and get our proportions mixed right. And it's a pretty long process. So by the time a flavor hits the shelf, there's probably already been 100 people try it to say whether it's good or not, and then we just take it from there. And we'll send it out, and we'll get feedback whether it's good or what needs to be improved, what needs to, be taken away, whether it's got too much sugar or anything like that. So it's pretty, I don't know what you'd call that, involved process.
Yeah.
Especially with the naturals. If we did artificial flavorings, we could hit any flavor we want to anytime, but we're kind of priding ourselves on everything being all natural.
Well, I think a lot of people would like that better anyway, is the natural.
Well, and it tastes so much better too. You don't get that artificial wang off of it, and you can tell that you're getting fresh apple pie whenever you're trying that one. So.
Well, it's just like when you go to a restaurant and order sweet tea, you never know if it's going to be really sweet or barely sweet,
right,
or in between. You never know.
Well, and that's one of our latest releases, and that one was a real hard one to tackle because everyone has their own preference, and we're trying to hit a middle ground and make everybody happy. And some people really like it, and some people don't like it because it's not sweet enough. But it's hard to hit all those flavor profiles. So that's one thing I'm having to concentrate on: is make sure it's a good product, but it's got to be kind of middle ground for everybody, not just one way or the other.
Well, I know I've gone to some places and ordered sweet tea, and then when I take a sip, it's like
Right.
take a sugar high. You know, you just wow.
Right.
And you think, well, I ordered the wrong thing. I'll get water. But yeah, it's a process, like you said. It just takes time trying it, and if that don't work, you try again. You keep trying till you get it right.
Right.
And anything worth doing is worth doing right.
For sure.
And it takes time. And did you have? Of course, you said it come from your family, generations of doing this. But did you have to go through any special training, like with the equipment and things like that? That you
All the equipment I built just about myself.
Oh, really?
Yeah. All of our copper steels, it's true. Copper steel is not much different than what you'd seen in the hollows, all hammered out and peen. The first thing that we've actually bought, as far as distillation that we hadn't made, is we just had a steel come in from Poland. And it's kind of like a rocket ship. We're figuring it out, but it's for our vodka and gin lines and neutral spirits. But that's the only thing we hadn't made ourselves. So what I found is when we got in this, you can buy pretty steels and everything else.
Yeah.
They're all out there all over the country, but you couldn't buy what we actually needed to make our product. So it's, when you think of a steel sitting out in the holler, that's basically what's just sitting inside a building now. And we've modified it a little bit. With going legal, you know, we have insurance and everything now, and insurance folks don't like alcohol vapor coming out with flames being underneath. So
Yeah.
a lot of our systems we've switched over to electricity because it's a lot safer and no open flames. So
Right.
keeps our insurance man happy.
Yeah. Well, have you had Mark and Digger come by?
No, not yet. We know a lot of the folks in the industry. Tennessee Shine Co. And Roy Jones has been real good to us so far. They've helped us with our glass suppliers, because when we started all this, we was buying just a few cases of jars here and there, and
Yeah.
we thought we were still going to just buy it at Walmart. And then as things started to scale, we had to start looking at the scalable factor. We found some companies out of New York. We'd buy a pallet at a time, thought we was big timing, you know.
Yeah.
And then we started having problems getting glass or getting enough. And Roy Jones with Tennessee Shine Co. actually got us in touch with a very large glass manufacturer, and he's been kind of helping us without it, knowing it was him helping us. And hopefully later this week we'll get up to go meet with him in person. But we've had a lot of phone calls with him. Super good guy.
So it seems like there's a lot of people in the industry that are really friendly and wanting to help
Yeah.
help each other. In other words, it's not like you might be competing with them, but
Right.
they still want to help you, make you do well.
Yeah, and some of them, not so much, but some of them, yes. More the investor-based companies
Yeah.
are not as interested in helping little town folks out, and the ones that are still family-oriented have been great.
Well, you never know. Before you know it, next 5 years you may be bigger than what you anticipate.
Well, we always hope and shoot for the stars, and maybe we'll get there and give Squatch County a good name, and it'd be something good for the community for generations. We're not just looking for it to be a fly-by-night operation. We're looking at this being a generational thing. So hopefully we're setting a good foundation for the people.
Well, and this is something different. I know there's been steels for
Oh,
years
yeah.
around here.
That's how most of the farms are paid for.
Yeah. And but this is something new that's legal, and it's it's a different type of process.
Right.
And
We've had a lot of people super excited about it. We've had some naysayers. Some people just don't know about it. We kept it fairly quiet to start with until we got our footing and got moving, and we'll always have naysayers, but for the most part the community's been really excited and happy that what we're doing, so hopefully that persists and we can do something good for the community overall.
well, good, because I know there'll be plenty of opportunities for you to do what you do,
Right.
and there'll be plenty of events coming down the pike with things at Harris Park, Valley Fest, and other
Right.
things that there's going to be a lot of events, from my understanding, this year that's coming down the pike.
Right.
They just got to get all their ducks in a row.
For sure.
And so that gives you an opportunity to be out there and let other people see you.
Right. Yeah, and then once we do open to the public out there at the new area, we'll have an announcement on social media. My wife here handles all the social media. I don't know anything about it. I get on there every now and again and look at it just out of curiosity, but she handles all the social media, and she'll be making all the announcements when it'll be open, and everybody can come out and check it out and see what we're doing out there. You know, it's just not the black building that everybody wonders what's going on inside of it.
Well, who knows? You may have to have a tourist director for it.
Well, hopefully that would be great. We've had over 2,500 tour requests so
Really?
far
Wow.
for this, and I think we'll end up being a pretty good portion of the Tennessee Tourism Board is going to push for us somewhat.
Well, that would be good for you.
Right.
It'd be helpful.
And then hopefully, you know, I don't know how quick it'll happen. We're looking at doing a possible brick and mortar here in town. That way, when we start getting bombarded out there, we can kind of split it and send some of the folks down here and have a on-site premise here in the city.
Well, that would be good, and because with the tourism board helping you, that's a big help.
It's big.
And of course, if you've been up to Gatlinburg and saw where Mark and Digger they have their store, it's lined out. You can't.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you have to stand for hours to even get in.
Right.
And
we're hoping, you know, we want a lot of people to come out and everything, but I want folks standing in line waiting just to come in and see it. So in the end, the property we have out there, we'll have a lot of stuff going on out there, so there'll be more than just the one thing to do. And hopefully keep folks busy and entertained while they're waiting to come in and see the still house and everything.
baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. A little bit of time. It's all in the pipe dream. So
Well, you might put you in an old still outside where people see
Right.
the way it used to be made.
right. Well, when they go inside, it's not going to be much different. You'll see a smaller version outside than what'll be on the inside. There's some fairly large stills that we're putting inside this building, so exciting stuff.
I'm looking forward to seeing that. I'd like to go in and see it. And
We put a little bit on Facebook now that you can see like little glimpses and snippets of what's going on out there, but in the end it should be a pretty cool experience for everybody.
when do you plan on getting it really open?
Well, I'm hoping within the next couple months, and I've been saying that for a hot minute now, but we've had some issues with things coming in, deadlines going past, a lot of issues with supply availability as far as certain things we needed. The building was delayed a month or so, you know, so we're kind of fighting that. I keep trying to set this imaginary date, and it keeps growing just a little bit, but we want it to be right when folks come out there, not just something comes back, well, that was a waste of time, you know.
Well, the weather's probably hindered y'all a lot too.
Yes, we've had a lot of rain out there, and it's been very muddy because when we started, this was all a wooded track. So once you get out there and see what we've got, that's in the last few months, it went from woods to what it is now.
Well, that's good. I'm glad for y'all. I know this has been something you've worked hard for and put in a lot of hours, probably a lot of sleepless hours.
Yeah, there's a lot of nights looking at the ceiling, wonder if I did the right thing, and hopefully it's good in the end because we're putting a lot of hope into it, you know, for future generations to come, not just only us, but those future generations, something that'll be long withstanding.
Well, good. I'm glad. Was there anything else that we haven't covered that maybe you'd like to go over?
Anything you can think of? I mean, the best, just keep track of us on Facebook and all of our social medias. We'll be doing tons of releases this year. And then I guess the biggest thing will be when we start doing the tours out there. That'll be a big announcement. We'll probably do like a soft opening and then do us a grand opening, just make sure everything goes smooth.
Yeah, because I'm sure once people from outside the area start touring, they'll tell their friends,
Right.
and then their friends will tell their friends.
Well, that's what we're finding so far, just kind of a compounding, not necessarily an issue, but as one person finds out, they may go tell 10, and then a store that, you know, might typically sell a few bottles sells, you know, several cases at that point. So we're trying trying to make sure we take care of our customer base here before we start expanding too wide, and that's part of this new facility, is make sure we can increase production and spread a little further in the state. So
One thing I failed to mention, or failed to ask, when you do the different flavors, do you have to like run that batch and then clean everything up and then run another batch?
yeah,
How that works?
well, regardless, when we run a batch, when I send it through, all the equipment gets cleaned anyways. Just from a sanitary standpoint, copper is very clean to start with, but it does oxidize and has to be cleaned. But everything's very sanitary as far as the process goes. That's one thing that Tennessee ABC looks for, and the ATF, TTB. And if anybody has flavor requests, they can always put it in with us on social media too. Now, one thing to keep in mind is when we get a new flavor ideal, by the time we send a recipe up to the ATF, and everything happens from conception to final product, it takes about 3 months.
Really?
Believe it or not.
Wow.
And that's if we've already got the flavor profile nailed. It could turn into a year-long adventure if we're still trying to nail that flavor profile. So any flavor requests, we'll be happy to listen and try to come up with those flavors as long as it's possible. And we've told a lot of folks down here at the store and got some good ideas on some new flavors that we're going to try.
So once you really try a flavor and then you go, well, that's not really right, and then you retry it and change your recipe a little bit, and it may take you a few months to actually get your recipe
Yeah,
down.
just the recipe portion of it. And then once the recipe portion of it's right, I then have to send it all off to be approved, and we have to get labels made, get label approval. There's a lot that goes into one of them jars by the time you see it on the shelf that necessarily wouldn't be seen.
Yeah, I've heard that the labels have to be just so on the products.
They're very particular. I'm not the greatest pronunciation or commas or periods. Being married to an English teacher is hard on me, but if you miss a period, they will let you know. Or a comma, anything. If it's barely misspelled, even if you're meaning to misspell something, when it goes through that label process, they let you know about it real quick.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
very particular on all that.
That's interesting. Well, I'm looking forward to when y'all can get open. I want to see. I know y'all are kind of nervous but excited too.
Right.
And this will be a good adventure, I think, for a lot of people. And when it gets out, more and more people, you'll have a lot of people from the valley. You probably already have had a lot of people from the valley interested.
There's a lot of people chomping at the bit to get out there and see the site. And we're working as fast and diligently as we can for folks to be able to come out. But a lot of them's understood, it's a pretty big undertaking that we're going through, but they're still chomping at the bit, wanting to get out there and check it out and see what everything's all about,
Just tell them to come four-wheeling out there.
Right. That's how most of them show up to start with. But
Well, I certainly appreciate y'all being here today, and like I say, I'm looking forward to y'all getting open and getting things squared away, and I know y'all are.
oh, for sure.
And take a load off y'all really once you get that. Take a load off and then put another load on, I guess.
I'm gonna take a day to go fishing when that happens.
Well, I certainly don't blame you, but I appreciate y'all being here today, and
Well,
thank you for
appreciate
coming in.
Well, thank you for having us, and we've really enjoyed it.
Well, good. Again, folks, you can see this interview on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber's Cable Channel 18. And again, thankful for Needful Things General Store for sponsoring our program. So until next time, have a great day. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.